This week I'm going to do the same thing as I did last week. Basically, I'm going to run through a list of plants that I love at the moment, because this is kind of a style of video that I really like watching. I love seeing other people's collections. I love seeing different forms of the same plants, and I love seeing if there's something a little bit unusual in people's collections. Not that there's anything particularly unusual here. A couple of interesting plants, and only 2 philodendron, which is very unusual for me. If you do follow me on Instagram, you'll probably notice that there are some versions of these plants that I have that are bigger, but those will be at my partner's place. If I'm not showing them here, then it's because I don't have them in my house here. They'll be at his place. Let's get started. So I'm going to go through 2 philodendron quickly just to get them out the way. Number 1, love this plant, is my Philodendron billietiae. I never know how to say it. You always see them written down. I never really know how to say it. I feel very overexposed here. Is there a way to change that? Oh well, we'll manage. So plant number 1, Philodendron billietiae. He's done a lot of growing since I got him. He's stood still for quite a long time. Didn't really put out any new leaves, and then suddenly he put out this gorgeous guy. Look at the difference in size between this leaf. Well, this one is the last one before this one, and then suddenly this guy, and there's a new one coming through there. I don't know if you can see that. Look, it's poking through. It's very exciting. Super satisfying plant, fast growing, enjoys being moist. I've got him mainly in sphagnum, a little bit of a mix of perlite and some other bits of substrate in there. So easy to look after. Can deal with a bit more sunlight as well. So I've got him right at the front of my plant shelves, so he takes quite a bit of direct sunlight during the day and loves it. Second philodendron, this is not one I've had for very long. Actually, I literally unboxed it earlier today, and I don't know what's going to happen with it, but it's cute and intriguing, if a little bit battered. So we are going to look at it now. This is a Philodendron birkin. It's very it's the it plant at the moment on Instagram and everything. It is very interesting. I kind of expected this, like most variegated plants, to start with variegation in all of the leaves. But actually, if you look at this guy, I don't know if you can tell, all of the younger leaves are pretty much completely green. There's no variegation at all, or very, very little. And then you start seeing a little bit in this leaf, and then the one that's coming through here, I can see a ton of variegation, a ton of those long stripes. It's going to be very difficult to show you, and please forgive the fact that it's a little bit battered. It was slightly badly packaged when it got sent. That's alright, we'll survive. Very cute. Philodendron birkin. Don't really know that one's background. I think it's just a new hybrid. It's very cute. Moving on from our philodendrons to the genus which is rapidly claiming my heart. I have quite a few more, but these are the ones that leapt out at me today to show to you. The first one, looking a little bit sad, is my Anthurium metallicum. So this leaf is very healthy, this leaf is less healthy. I only got this very, very recently off eBay, so he's still settling in. I've got him up in sphagnum, so the roots, the base of the stem wrapped in sphagnum, and digging through I can already see that there are a couple of little, ooh, cute! Yeah, there's a little green shoot right there, there's some leaves coming through. So, however damaged he may appear, he's doing well. And I've just got this Ziploc bag around the roots to keep it really moist, and I have him on a heat pad, so he's doing super well. I'm so bad at leaving things to grow by themselves. I'm always digging through the substrate, trying to see if the new roots are there, and in this case they are, which is lovely. My second Anthurium, ooh, this one's a little bit unusual. Maybe, I don't know if it's rare. It's not actually officially described yet, so I'm gonna call it an Anthurium villainaurum. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but I don't actually think it has an official name yet. Very, very cute. Tiny for now. Really, really interesting leaves. beautiful growth. It's just exploded in the last couple of days. It's got 1, 2, 3 new leaves coming from 3 different grow points, which is fantastic. And the interesting thing about this is that the petioles, is that the word? Yeah, the stems are triangular. So most Anthurium are not, apparently, I'm discovering. But this one has triangular petioles. It's very, very cute. And as it gets older, those veins, like with a lot of the velvety Anthuriums, will get much more pronounced. So they will have that like really nice white veinage on the leaves. Love this little guy. Really, really satisfying plant. And the third one, this is a plant that's getting pretty common in the UK. So it's not anything too interesting on the rare plant front, but it's just a stunning showstopper plant. This is the Anthurium clarinervium. This is very, very common now in the UK. Like, I saw these in Kew Gardens shop for £15, and I've seen them pretty much in every big garden centre that is in London at the moment. But look at that. Oh, this is why Anthurium are magical, because they can look like that. How can you not love this? This is ridiculous. And look at that cute little leaf, the baby coming through there. Another thing I love about Anthurium is that the leaves kind of come through as the miniature form of the adult, fully developed leaf, and they just inflate as if someone's filling them with air. It's incredible. Love. Really, really beautiful. This is like a plant that I just can't stop looking at. It's sat there on my shelf and I'm just like staring at it all day. Right, those are my 3 Anthurium that I wanted to share. Moving on to my Monstera. I have a few of these. We're just going to go through them quite quickly because I'm seeing that we're already at 8 minutes. And I don't want to spend too long here because I know people get distracted. Okay, first in my little Monstera collection is the Monstera castellanum or Peru. I don't think it's officially named yet either, but there you go. So this guy is a variegated version of that plant. This first leaf is where the cutting was taken from, so the leaf is getting a little bit old, it's yellowing a little bit. But if you look closely there, you can see some, I don't know if I'm showing you the right part of the leaf, you can see some interesting variegation. Oh, it doesn't really show up. There's some sort of creamy variegation. This other leaf is a little bit easier to tell. Can you see that this side of the leaf is very, very pale? This side of the leaf is much, much darker. I'm hoping that the next leaf, as it continues to grow, will have some of the creamy patches. Can you see it there? Anyway, doesn't really come across on camera, but it's a really interesting plant. Yeah, love it. Everything here I've just watered, so if you can hear drips, it's because they're dripping. Yay! Next Monstera, obviously the celebrity, the most loved Monstera at the moment, well, 2 of them. This is my Monstera variegata borsigiana. Never know how to pronounce the things. Read them all the time. So this is a cutting I got, and this is the new leaf that's recently come through. I was a little bit disappointed with the level of variegation. I kind of expected it to be, when I was watching it develop, I think I could see just this out. This was the outer layer, so I was like, oh my god, there's so much white on it. And then it came out, and there's literally the whole half of the leaf, which is green. But that's okay. You do you. Develop at your own pace. I've got another cutting like this, rooting, and then at my partner's we've got a full large plant, which we're going to start taking cuttings from soon. Yeah, lovely. Nothing else to say about it, just beautiful. Look at those colours. Not colours, the lack of colour. Really, really nice. Oh my god, it's dripping everywhere. Right, next one after that. This is obviously still a Monstera. I have a much larger plant again at my partner's, so I'm just showing you the one that I thought was dead, and the reason why I bought a second plant in the first place. I got this one, bought it off eBay, it arrived, literally no roots, everything rotted off. I would cut the roots off, replant it, 2 days later check again and they'd all be rotted. So in the end I just cut off all of the roots, everything. It's my Monstera constellation, another variegated version. I cut off all of the roots, you can see there, right there, and stuck it in water. And I don't know how scientific this is, but what I did was I put a tiny bit of vinegar and a tiny bit of hydrogen peroxide, literally like almost nothing, half a drop if anything, in this little thing of water, and it didn't rot. It's grown. I don't know if it would have grown anyway, or whether what I did was helpful at all, but there you go. I now have roots. So I will leave this guy in here for another couple of months. I want it to have properly developed roots before I do anything stupid that might kill it again. Yay! Okay, moving on from Monstera. I don't know if I said at the start, I'm just doing 10. I could do so many more plants, but I'm not going to do them all, because otherwise it would be an endless video. So these are just the ones that leapt out at me when I was looking at my plants earlier. This is an Alocasia. So I have a horrible fear of Alocasia. The first one I ever got, the Alocasia amazonica, just died so dramatically. I brought it home. To be fair, it was kind of still quite cold out. I think it was February when I got it. So I think it got shocked by the cold and just went completely dormant. It's again at my partner's, but it's just starting to shoot through a new growth. This is the Alocasia Black Velvet. I picked this guy up at Conservatory Archives in London, and I'm just staring at it in the view thingy finder. It's beautiful. The tops of the leaves, like these ones, they're a little bit damaged, obviously. It hasn't had any new growth since I got it. It's got a new leaf coming here. I don't know if you can see that. It hasn't had any new growth, and the scarring is really dramatic on the black. It really like cuts into the velvet and then turns brown, which is a little bit there. But the undersides of the leaves are like this dark red colour, and I think this one might have not had enough light when it was growing, because it's very like leggy in the stems, and other ones I've seen are quite compact, but I like it like this. It's very interesting, Alocasia, and it hasn't died, which is so good. I've recently realised that it's more helpful with Alocasia to keep them dry than it is to keep them wet or to let them dry out. Someone mentioned to me when I first got my Alocasia that you had to keep the soil very, very wet, and I think that was part of the problem, that it was just cold and wet all at the same time, and everything just imploded. So let's not do that again. Second Alocasia. This is a beautiful plant. Jumped out at me. I've got there's a coffee shop that we go to regularly up in London that is part coffee shop, part plant shop, and they have really interesting, rare, interesting plants. And this Alocasia like jumped out at me the very first time we went in there, the very first time I found it, but I didn't want to buy it for some reason, and then a month later I did. So I've had this guy for 2-3 months. I'm sorry if I'm like blinding you with my exposure. This is the Alocasia cuprea Red Secret. He was not a happy plant when I bought him. He'd been in the dark and in the cold for way too long in like subpar conditions. So he was very leggy, and this like completely flopped over the side of the plant. So I propped him up with a chopstick, as you do, and since I got him, he's put out this leaf, which isn't even fully inflated yet, but look at the size of that. Like, just incredible. Like in some alien life form. I'm going to give you a second just to stare, because some people hate this plant, and I don't understand them. I think they're probably terrible people, because it's mesmerizing. Oh! You can't see on the camera. Look at the backside, the backsides of the leaves as well. They're like scarlet. But you can't tell, but it's just got this metallic sheen and layers of colours. I'm literally completely covering my face. Layers and layers of colours. It's like got the blacky sheen and then this like greeny, reddy thing underneath. It's amazing. Good. Alocasia, done. Last plant that's not an aroid, which is literally the only one in this whole collection here. I didn't even notice that. It's not an aroid. To be fair, I don't have many plants that are aroids at the moment. This is the last one. Really, really cute little plant. I fell in love with the leaves, because leaves are what I love. This is a Macodes petola. I never know if I'm pronouncing it. Sorry if I'm not. It's a jewel orchid, and if you can tell there, it's got very like, oh, it's probably not even focusing on the leaf. Focus! Anyway, I hope you get the idea. It's got like, let's see if we can make it focus. Hello. No, I've just messed everything up. Okay, no. This is the jewel orchid. Anyway, Macodius petola. It is a terrestrial orchid and doesn't like too much light, loves high humidity, grows quite well. It hasn't put out a lot of growth, but to be fair, when I got it, it was basically, it looked dead. I opened the box and it was just like flopped over the side. The roots were lifted out of the sphagnum. It was a sad little creature. But now, it's fine. And I really like it. Even if it doesn't do too much active growing, and even if I forget about it sometimes, I love looking at it, because I wish it would focus. One more time, we'll try. Those little lines, it's like a little lightning storm on the top of the leaf, and it's just so pretty. So yeah, that was the token non-aroid. I know that was technically 11 plants because we did the 2 types of variegated Monstera, but sort of 10. So thank you for watching. I'm doing this because I like doing these haul videos, I like watching them. If you enjoyed, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe down below. I will do more plant videos soon. Thank you. Bye.